Alright guys, I was thinking about doing a little series here and titling them Glock FAQ, frequently asked questions that I get about Glocks or Glock parts. I get a lot of questions in my personal messages as well as comments all the time about Glocks and magazines and parts, and one of the questions that seems to always come up is about Glock magazines. And that question is it okay for me to keep my Glock magazine loaded for a long period of time, or will it weaken the spring and will it fail in the gun? Well, my answer is yes, you can keep the Glock magazines loaded, and I know that for a fact because I have done this, and I know several other people who have done this, and there was not a problem. Okay, first of all, let me explain a couple things to you. What puts the most wear on a spring is from loading and firing, loading, unloading, the spring going up and down. That's what causes wear to the spring. Now, it still takes a lot of times of shooting to wear the original Glock spring. You'd have to put a lot of rounds down range to wear a spring. Now, I have personally had a 9mm 17 round magazine loaded for 2 years and it was fine, and I had a G21, whoops, wrong magazine, where's that here? Well, I had a G21 mag, here we go, loaded for 5 years, sitting in a drawer, never touched, never unloaded, and that magazine still functions fine to this day. 5 years. It was loaded with all 13 rounds. Okay? So let me go ahead here and just bust one of these bad boys open. Hold on. Okay, wrong one. This is one of those 10 round mags. I don't know how that got thrown in there. Let's go ahead and go with this guy here. Okay, we'll go with the 40 cal mag. Okay. You got your base plate, and you got your the heel plate right here. And of course the spring with the follower attached. Now, I did one time have a gun that had worn out mag springs. That gun was a G23 that was a police trade-in that had been carried for 12 years by a police department. Now here was what happened. Even if your springs were to wear out on you, to where it's going to cause the gun a failure, it is only the last couple of rounds in the magazine that will fail. Because what happens is when a spring gets weak and you compress it all the way down, of course it's weaker than what it should be, but there is still always enough pressure to shoot 3/4 of the mag, in my experience. So even if I would have had a self-defense situation go down with that G23, as long as I wouldn't have needed all the rounds in the magazine, I would have been good down to the last 2 rounds. Okay? And then what happened was when I get to the last 2 rounds, the gun would stovepipe. Or the round would be neck down in there and the feed ramps here, and it would be like that. Okay, so all rounds still worked except for the last 2. And I mean, these magazine springs were so weak in that G23 that I could take the follower and just push it down like nothing. I could just take my finger and just go down in there just real easy and push it down. So what I did was I contacted Wolf Springs. You can look them up online, WOLFF Springs, and I got their extra 10% power springs they sell. So it's basically a spring like this, but it has 10% more pressure. I don't know, maybe it's a little longer. Yeah, I believe it is a little longer. I've looked at it when they came. it does have 10% more power than what these springs have. And that's what I changed out all 3 of the Glock 23 mags with, and the gun was perfect after that. I tested it by shooting 250 rounds as soon as I put the springs in the magazines, and the gun was absolutely good to go. So, yes, you can leave your Glock magazines loaded. I've done it for up to 5 years, and that same magazine and spring is still going to this day. Alright guys, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, as always, send me a message and let me know. Until then, this is Humans for Targets, and I'm out.